So you've seen a lot of Borderlands, the pre-sequel, this game that has not come out yet. You saw it at E3.
I saw it before E3.
You saw it before E3,
yeah.
and now you've seen it again. So I want the
Yeah.
new stuff. So we're going character by character.
Yeah, so everything has to be kind of staggered out, so we only get to do one character a week. But this week we get to talk about Athena, who is the first one that we saw. And Athena was originally one of the people from the General Knox DLC for the original Borderlands, which was a great DLC, by the way. That really changed up. Like that DLC was way better than the whole Borderlands original game.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so her main thing is, as people kind of know if you've been following the game, is that she's got like this Captain America shield going on. So your action skills, you bring up the shield, you absorb a lot of damage, and then at the last second you toss the shield out and damage enemies with it based on how much damage you've accumulated with it. And so there are the 3 different trees, like kind of the way it upgrades. There's the one that kind of does the bounce, like you toss it and it hits multiple enemies. There's another one where basically it changes your melee so that like you're using her sword and you're like dashing into guys with a sword. And I used that build at E3 if I remember right. And then the one I want, the one I focused on this time is called Psionic Storm. I don't know where that word came from, but it basically
Borderlands.
It basically focuses on fire and shock damage. So it kind of has this stacks mechanic, so that as you deal fire and shock damage, then your fire and shock damage increasingly do more and more damage. So it's kind of like a combo kind of thing. And so
cool.
The longer you can keep up that kind of damage, the more effective it's going to be. One of the things it does with the shield is when you toss the shield out, then it creates like this storm of like fire and lightning that kind of stays in that space for a little while and damages anyone that gets nearby. And then when you get towards the bottom of her skill tree, then you can, one of the things you can do now is you can do a ground pound. You can jump up in the air and slam on enemies. So now like slamming on enemies will create like this shock tether towards them as long as you keep them in view.
And all the 4 characters can do that jump.
Yeah, everyone can do a ground pound. It's basically you just jump in the air and then hit the crouch button, I believe. Some other stuff that was just there, like in that level, like jump pads are now a thing. But something that I thought was kind of interesting is like you could like shoot the generator next to the jump pad and it would be more effective, and you kind of had to do that to get to the top of a building. So it's like you charge it up with like shock damage or whatever. There's one time I was able, like I did the kind of thing where like jump up in the air and shoot a guy like that was beneath me, but then I missed and like I fell back down to the ground and had to go back up.
What environments were you going through? Like what? It was just some stuff you hadn't seen before.
This is
some
one
backgrounds?
of those. Yeah, I mean, this is one of those things where it was just more focused on like getting to use the character itself and seeing how that character played, and like I didn't really care what I was fighting so much as long as I just kept shooting guys and finding guys to shoot.
I think one of the concerns that I have is that it's the moon.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's the moon. So like how much can you diversify the moon? And I know they've kind of showed that might have like biospheres and stuff like that, different interiors you can
One
go
thing
through.
that was interesting is there's oxygen stations that are set up like man-made bubbles that you can go into, but then there are also oxygen vents, and I may be getting ahead of ourselves here. But yeah, so you could like walk up to a vent and it's like naturally coming out of the ground, kind of like methane at the bottom of the ocean or something like that. The other thing I got to do with Athena was the Stingray Vehicle, which is a new vehicle. It's kind of like a hovercraft, so it's got like these 4 like hover things on the sides of it, and you tilt it left and right or whatever. But instead of having a speed boost like typical Borderlands vehicles, it can actually jump and slam as well.
That's fun.
So I was like going around like awkwardly trying to smash things with the vehicle.
Does it have health? And so like does it?
Yeah, vehicles. Yeah, they still have health,
Okay.
but it kind of auto repairs as long as you get away from combat. And then the 2 weapons that they have for the Stingray, there's like a flat cannon to kind of like just do a bunch of explosions out in the distance, and then there's the normal kind of weapon is like a little laser beam. And then there is like these homing ice missiles, so you can just like freeze the guys, stop them in place, and then just go to town on them. And then there are the things I was shooting and with the vehicle at that point. There's like these weird little things. They look like a mixture between a mosquito and a dragon. So you freeze them and then they drop and then you go over and smash them. So it was fun.
I like freezing stuff, yeah, and blowing it up into a billion pieces. It's so crazy that there are 12 characters now, right? That they've created for the Borderlands universe.
There's more than that actually, because
Playable characters?
They had like DLC. They had the Mechromancer and stuff.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, so I don't know the exact number because I'm thinking there might be another one that I'm forgetting.
But I mean, anything extraneous going on? Anything you felt so far where it's like, okay, well, this character is like a slight variant on another, but it's just that defensive thing with the shield. It's interesting that they went through 2 full games with all the expansions that they did and never actually like touched on that. Does it feel new and fresh and like it adds a lot to the experience, or is it just another character?
Yeah, I mean, in a way, it's another character. Yeah, the other elements are kind of what makes it more different in terms of the weightlessness and kind of adjusting to that, and then some of the new weapons and stuff, which we'll get into on next week's little episode.
So I want to get like a fun factor rating of all of these characters. Do you see yourself investing time in this character moving forward?
Yeah, well, I'll get around on the last one. I'll get to which one of these is my favorite because it's definitely been evolving. So yeah.
But fun. I mean, they were the environments different that you got to try out on these characters, or it was all the same?
They were different environments, but they weren't like extremely different. So so the first one with Athena was just kind of like on just a building with some jump pads.
And is the game improving at all over the time that you've been seeing it, or are you just still finally getting access to stuff?
Yeah, I mean, this is obviously the PC version. So you get to have all of those extra nice little graphical touches like the NVIDIA like liquid stuff rolling down the hill and that kind of thing that will almost definitely not be in the console versions.
But yeah, kind of one of those things that they can take advantage of. The consoles have been around for so long and they've already made so much content for this current generation that they're just really good at it. They just know these consoles really well and they're really good with their engine. Cool, man. I'm excited for the other characters. Yeah. Thanks for chatting.
Gonna make you choke on the